Good day and welcome. We're delighted to welcome you from all over the world to this live session where we are going to be discussing learning trends, especially for the executive education. We're going to be discovering what is the industry talking about and what do people that are thinking of studying further would like to do. My name is Stephanie Ruiz. I'm the head of career services and I will be your host today. I'm delighted to have with me today as well Perrine Dejoie, Mr. Frank Gueuning, and Ms. Ruth Poor. And can I ask you please to introduce yourselves?
Thank you, Stephanie. So hi everyone, it's a pleasure to participate to this LinkedIn event today with you, Stephanie, Ruth, and Frank from Les Roches. I'm Perrine Dejoie, Talent Consulting Director for Morgan Phillips. Morgan Phillips Group is a global company specialized in executive search, interim management, and talent consulting. Morgan Phillips has 500 collaborators worldwide. We have clients in several industries, and especially in hospitality, for example, with Hilton and Accor. Personally, I've been working for 28 years in different senior roles for corporate and consulting companies, and for Morgan Phillips for the last 3 years. I'm an expert in creating and running development programs for companies undergoing changes.
Excellent. I hope I can match us. Good afternoon, good morning to everybody. So I'm the program director for this EMBA we are launching in Les Roches. And I've been in Les Roches for 14 years and I'll rewind a little bit my life because it's important to the creation of this executive MBA. I spent 25 years or so in the hotel industry, studied hotel management, progressed through the ranks, was general manager from a young age. And I understand at a certain point in my career what the issues were that I encountered that would have enabled me to progress further. So the executive MBA creation is a little bit based on that philosophy where we have knowledge from the industry and then the expertise from the learning and development side. And I will tell you more about the program in a second.
So, hello everyone. As Stephanie mentioned, my name is Ruth Poor and I'm the head of teaching and learning development here at Les Roches. I've been teaching here for 16 years. At the moment, I teach talent management, organizational behavior and change management. And I'm deeply passionate about education and about the transformation that higher education is going through at the moment, which is offering some fantastic opportunities for institutions and learners alike.
Well, thank you for sharing your very interesting backgrounds. And I have a few questions for you today. So starting from the industry perspective, how are MBAs, executive MBAs, viewed by the industry?
Yes, good question. What company do prefer to recruit a candidate with an MBA diploma? I think there is 3 main reasons. First, an MBA is a guarantee for the learner and therefore for the employers to be part of a network by working with other experienced learners from other areas. It guarantees the learner to be an open-minded candidate. That's the first point. The second, I think, it's a guarantee that the learner have been trained by several seasoned experts and special guests. So it guarantees the learner to be the up-to-date candidate. And third and last, it's a guarantee that the learner has evolved in a multicultural environment. It allows the candidate to develop an agile working capacity and in an international network.
So I agree with this. And before we go any further, you've mentioned that we are launching this fantastic new executive MBA. And I think it will be interesting for our audience to hear a bit more about what this program entails and what is the benefit for the professionals who are now still working to join such a program.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. So the way we are structuring the executive MBA is very much as a journey looking at the current industry transformation, and post-COVID, it's certainly very active. And then it's a journey that will finish after the 4th module. So it will be split in 4 different modules of different courses within those modules over a period of a year. And after the 4th module, we are looking, or the 4th module the strategic direction, really to ensure that our participants have the knowledge, develop the confidence to add value to a business that they will rejoin or a new business they will join after.
And from your perspective, being not only the program director, but actually having been in the industry as a GM in the luxury hotel sector, who do you think is the ideal target market? Who are the professionals out there that could really benefit from such a program?
The participants, the way we imagine the program is you have managers, general managers in the industry, and if we look at Europe as a context, we have a smaller industry with smaller hotels, so a general manager from a hotel, but suddenly you feel you lack certain knowledge to push the business further, to take it into a new direction. This is one of the group of participants. In the larger hotels, let's say you have Southeast Asia, in India, in the Middle East, let's say to name a few regions, then a head of department, head of division looking to progress. The industry is telling us as well that really to be promoted to a general manager position today, an executive MBA, an MBA are becoming a prerequisite. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, it's fitting that gap. So we're making sure that it's grounded enough, that it's real enough, but on the other hand, it's pushing the boundaries of knowledge in certain courses where we say, okay, where can we take this knowledge further with experts, professors coming from different countries of the world. So we are developing the program for a group of participants that will be looking for something unique, but all for growth and potential to grow further. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the structure for this. Other participants, and it's interesting because the program was just launched a few days ago. I had a conversation with a young man, I'll call young man, but of my generation in Australia. And he was looking to a post-retirement sort of career move and to sort of say, okay, how can my love for the hospitality can be translated, but I need to have some knowledge or new knowledge. I had also entrepreneurs based in London who spoke to me, who's looking at developing certain aspects will benefit the hospitality industry in general, not just hotels, with innovative ideas, but limited by certain knowledge about the expertise in the industry. And then another one, younger, who is really looking at career growth and a faster track to really general management position, which is an aspiration, or progression to corporate office, which in some cases is important too, or asset management. And for the ones who know that environment, the working on behalf of a management company for owners can be a challenge. So the knowledge we develop from the asset management course, for instance, will be really looking at exploring our best to leverage the needs of both management company and the owner's representative.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So continuing on the same topic and on the same question, you as recruiting in the industry at the moment, what do you think from that perspective of the recruiters? How does the EMBA add value to this?
Well, I do believe when a learner attends a famous international school, he or she gets a recognized diploma. The learner gains credibility and recognition from the market and employers. For example, after spending, you give some example, but for example, another example, after spending 12 or 15 years in a company, it's certainly valuable for a candidate and therefore for the employer to attend an MBA.
Mm-hmm. And on a different topic, same but different, there is also a trend right now of lots of people studying what we call microcredentials. And I think it might be interesting to share with the audience, what is a microcredential?
Yes, so microcredentials, there's a lot of excitement around them at the moment, and justifiably so, for people who have identified a specific skills or competency gap that they want to fill, that they need to put in use and apply in the work context. A microcredential is a fantastic solution. It's a short course. Many are offered by very reputable institutions, and they give you an immediate certificate small certificate in that specific area of skill or competency. So it's a wonderful way of filling gaps and upskilling quickly.
So what I've realized is that people that study through micro-credentials, what they also do is that they tend to study several of them. So how does maybe studying a collection of micro-credentials, if we can call it that way, be different from an EMBA?
That's a great question. So we're hearing about this stackability or the bundling of micro-credentials. And what this implies is that you identify several different skills or competencies and you study micro-credentials in each of those. And if you're studying with the same institution or sometimes institutions that are working together, you might be able to pool these together into some larger certification. And higher education institutions are working hard at the moment to build frameworks for how they might be able to do this. It's the beginning of this still, but it's an exciting space to be looking at for sure.
It is true, it's true. And going back to the industry, because I think it's important to understand what people out there who are working, how they're going to view this. How do the employers value a micro-credential or a collection of versus studying a full-on MBA, executive MBA? What are the trends at the moment?
Today employers are looking for people open-minded, at ease in multicultural environment, but also agile, capable to react and adapt to changes. And certainly the MBA, I think it's the best option if you're hoping to make an impact in your career, such as switching industry or attending a new role, a higher one, a leadership role. If you attend a micro-credential, it means you're curious, you're volunteer, and you're up to date. But it's speaking of you as a candidate who knows how to learn. But you learn by your own, but never without others. I know you know that. And beyond the hard skill, I think the value of those micro-credentials will depend how you apply in the real professional life what you learn and how you behave on the field. So I would like to share that degree or micro-credentials are not a golden ticket to fame or fortune. I really do believe that excelling in business requires initiative, creativity, and effort. And maybe just as a conclusion and about the trends, I think it's a mixed, and I think the top trends is certainly to attend a development program in which you can pick up the last relevant knowledge, but also the specific skills you need.
So I think we all agree that people nowadays want to continue learning, want to continue developing, and so one way or another, it's positive and it has a good impact. I could continue asking questions, but I think we should ask the people who are attending this live event what their questions are. So let's take a peek. All right. All right. So one of the first questions that we're having, and I think it's from somebody who has already looked a little bit about our executive MBA. So I'm looking at you because they're asking. There's two. So the course is remote, and there is 2 weeks that are actually on site. They're not remotely. What would be the benefit of having those 2 weeks not remotely for people who are actually working and have a lot of work?
Correct. But it's carefully balanced. We thought when we put this together, the first week will be on the campus in Crans-Montana. There are different reasons for this. First of all is to go and visit the campus that will be delivering the degree or the master's. Then there's also of getting the group to get to know each other, because once you start the courses, we don't want it to become individual certification that you can stack up, which is very good, but it specializes you in an environment that is specific to you, available to many in the industry. It's more a question of looking at working in parallel in different courses to really make sense of everything that's being learned. So each module is created to be an entity in its own right. So the first week is very much going to be building the team, opening discussion and starting the courses with specific activities and classroom environment. Then the third module will start with a week. At the moment, we think it will be Dubai. The reason we've chosen Dubai, it's a very dynamic, and maybe some of the audience understand Dubai and have worked in that environment, but there's an oversupply of hotel. The demand is growing, but not at the pace of the supply. So it creates a very dynamic environment where you always have something new happening. So this will be part of setting the scene. Then we will use that week to start the capstone project. The deliverable, we suppose that participants will feel that they need to achieve something at the end that is personal. There will be options there. One, for instance, the sponsor, maybe a hotel chain, will expect something in return, so you will look on something specific, and you will be supervised in the development of your capstone project. There is maybe the entrepreneur will start exploring ideas further with the new knowledge acquired in all the courses. A third option is to leverage what we have in Les Roches with our innovation hub. We have companies approaching us with innovative ideas that they do not know how to convert into something useful. So there may be something for the entrepreneurs there just looking at exploring new things. So we need to have the face-to-face there because, again, it's reforming the group, the participants together, and feeding from each other, as you say, that multicultural environment, meeting in different contexts and going like this. It may be, yes, a week of holiday, but it will be worthwhile.
A week in Dubai sounds lovely.
Yes.
So if I understand correctly, they're going to rebond the group,
Yes.
reconnect as a group. They're going to be with the industry, but they're also going to focus on the studies through this capstone.
Correct. And I'm just thinking of something. The micro-credentials are one thing, and they are very good. But from what my experience, doing that MBA, which I did an MBA quite a few years ago, but it's a complete reset across the board that takes you to a different level. You do not need to be a specialist of everything. You need to understand in the breadth of knowledge across a business. So if you are in an operation that may be more lifestyle, not in style of management, but in the way of life of working morning, noon, and night, suddenly you get to a stage where you have no time to reset. The world has moved on. Then an executive MBA could certainly be something to pick up from and then move on to say, okay, I need to understand better business in general, to scale up the business, to grow the business, to maybe change direction, many opportunities. And this is where, and as Perrine said, that multicultural sort of environment where you have participants from all over the world, all sort of ages. Well, entry level is 28, but let's say we'll have probably an average in the class of 40-year-olds. That's many different experiences in many different regions with many different travel experience of the hospitality in general. And it's the cocktail of that really makes it worthwhile. For that, back to week one of the first module, the group needs to know each other, grow confident to share with each other about ideas, exploring avenues, testing based on cultural identity we have, what's happening in another region of the world, how does it work, and sharing, that's it.
If I may, I think it's a holistic view of management and business offered by the MBA executives that attracts so many candidates and guarantees the employer to recruit the best leaders for tomorrow. I think this is holistic view that's very important.
And if I can add to that also, the fact that these will be working professionals, they'll be bringing their working experiences and interrogating those working experiences with the benefit of the faculty and their peer learners, really discovering and exploring solutions to problems, strategies. It's a fantastic opportunity to find ways forward in their own business environment also.
Yeah. All right.
Perhaps Ruth can add a
yes.
little bit on the strategy, the teaching and everything, what we will do.
By all means,
Yes.
share with us, please.
Because I think some people will have a perspective that these EMBAs represent online learning and a very particular view about what online learning is as a lonely or isolating experience. And there, for sure, some learning needs to take place by oneself, reflecting, understanding, grappling with concepts. That's an important piece of learning. but also incredibly important in learning is opportunities for collaborative interactions, those spaces where somebody questions our ideas or we question somebody else's ideas, and that can give us completely new perspectives on our understandings. And what the EMBA will look to do is to find opportunities to give learners all of those different approaches to learning. And maximising opportunities for collaborative interactions, especially with people with such a range of experiences, cultures, ages. That's the dynamic that we're hoping for in the EMBA.
Good. And there's a question attached to this one. We have a well-established MBA, that's well known, very well reputed, and we're launching an executive MBA. So what is the main difference is being asked?
Okay, so the MBA we do on campus, which is a 20-year more or less history, is very much taking the students. It's a taught MBA program where we spend time in class and developing the participants, the students. The engagement is different from faculty's point of view. It's a journey we do together with the participant. They are younger, typically, and if we look at the core content of the program itself, it's very similar. It's the way of delivery that will appeal to a slightly different candidate, different age group. Some, at certain time in our life, we need more structure to achieve the deliverable. And then here, let's say the 30, 40-year-old working and will view it differently to add value to personal sort of development, life, and maybe change career or grow faster. So there's a time and age for everything. We're not viewing them as competing, they're complementing each other, appealing to a different group. We have many students, and I think it will remain like this for the MBA, who will come here because they need that close-knit community, that class contact, that interaction in class, that living together, plus other activities that we do in the school. And then, so yes, it's different, the way of teaching, the approach we will have to delivering a class. We cannot do an hour and a half session in a virtual environment, so it will be crafted differently. And we have brought in expertise from Ruth, but there are other geeks in IT and things like this who are more astute than I am in that domain. But it's blending all these to create an innovative approach to the EMBA, the executive MBA. But I want it to be a journey. You start as of the experience of today. We will build together a program. You're not in isolation. We'll take you through a journey to graduation. Capstone being the last element of it.
Yeah. And if I can add to this, having seen, I'm in charge of the careers here at Les Roches, and I've seen students and how they've developed after they left. And one of the things that I am recognizing is that students that graduated maybe 10 years ago want something new. I want to know what is the new content, what are the new things they need to have, create their network in a different way. So this could be also an interesting way of getting there. So.
Many ways, but ultimately, lifelong learning is one thing. The micro-credential available in most hotel companies, they will provide certainly some support for micro-credential, but it's really taking it to a different level. That doesn't mean it's the end. After that, you can specialize again, but it's a complete reset. Let's say you're 35, 40, before midlife crisis, and then you say, okay, now I'm going to take my career further, because every so often we need to embrace a new challenge. Why? Because it's self-motivating to do that new challenge, and I feel that as well. I still do micro-credential as well, okay? But it's about sort of re-inspiring, looking at what's out there in a specific field. Then sometimes you reset and you move again.
So if they're getting bored, learn
not
something new.
Bored. Well, it's not about getting bored, it's being hungry to do more. It's because we know that if we stand still, basically we're going to become history. Yeah. So if we, let's say a 40-year-old in the industry, unless that person, as an example, is willing to do a bit more learning or something, you will be, and you can probably identify with that in your role as well. You have to always look hungry to learn. This is an expectation from the employer, but
and volunteer, and yes, sure, it's really something that employers are looking for, just not only hard skill, but soft skill like that. And people are always curious to learn something different, to be up to date and to learn with others. So, yes.
And we know that the world of work isn't just constantly evolving. We know that the pace of that evolution is accelerating. So lifelong learning, curiosity, these terms that you've been mentioning, these are going to be key differentiators. This willingness to explore new ways of doing things, how the world is changing, how can we understand that, how can we leverage all of that? Those are going to be the big differentiators in the workplace.
Good. And now that we're talking about the workplace, we have a question on which other sectors would the Executive MBA in Global Hospitality Management be useful?
So, you know, since many years now, hospitality is not just about restaurants and hotels. Any company that offer a client experience, an amazing experience for the clients, is part of hospitality. So if you attend an MBA like that, if you gain, therefore the skills you gain at hospitality MBA will be all transferable in the market. It's plug and play in any sector, sure.
And it's interesting because other people are saying, you know, airlines and other industry which is not the traditional. So yes, it ties up very much.
Any sector that works on delivering an experience and anything you can think of.
Yes.
And then after that, it's a personalization. Yes, the example we are familiar with most likely is the hotel, but it's applicable anyway in the private sector, banking, in luxury retail, anything where you have to deliver an experience that goes beyond the transaction of, yes, I'm renting a room or I'm buying, not that I shop like this, but a specific brand name of anything. You know, it's the experience. And this is what we work on, and the whole accent, you know, the content is one thing of the course, but the whole flavor is about delivering that experience and the personalized journey as well. Hence also the association with Morgan Phillips here, who will bring their expertise in that coaching alongside the program.
Yes, client experience is a fast-moving topics. Yeah. So you can transfer it in cosmetic, automotive, pure player also.
In the world of hospitality, we talk about the guest, but in another context, it's the customer, and in another context, it's the client. But in all of those contexts, it's about a human contact, a service-oriented human contact, and any sector or industry where that contact is needed, what students learn in hospitality is applicable.
And if I may add, and the ideas come with the questions like this.
Yes.
Recently, we do regular field trip with the students, and the industry is hungry for new knowledge. So when we visit hotels or other businesses in the hospitality industry, they like to welcome us. Why? Because they pick up vibes from the new generation, and it works together. It's not a recruitment trip, but it's a sort of say, okay, this is what's happening in education in Les Roches, and we understand better what's happening in the industry. So we put it together, and we have now companies that will approach us and say, please come and visit us when you come to that destination. And, you know, it opens the door in consulting, which is, you know, an aspiration for many young people to move into consulting. You have an experience in the hotel, restaurant, hospitality industry in general, but moving into consulting in developing areas. And I'm thinking today, let's say, they're still developing a lot, but Saudi Arabia is one of those hot pot in the world that is going to need a lot of young talent, but they will need to have reset with the Executive MBA before. It's not me asking, it's not me dictating, it's the industry saying this is what we need.
So it ties up with a question I'm seeing. How would the employer experience the fact of having somebody in management studying one of these EMBAs where you actually need to invest time, not only at your workplace, but also the studies?
So it's being designed, and it's impossible to know exactly every individual and how they will study, but to have 14, 16, 18 hours a week of work. Now, if you think, we hope everybody gets at least one day off, so we could say 3, 4 hours, 5 hours in that day off, or 2 days off, one of the 2 days, and then an hour and a half every day after work, before work, depending if one is working still in shift time or weekends or anything. We will try to make it not Monday to Friday for certain modules. We will try to open it up so that there's connection with the faculty involved at weekends, but not exclusively at weekends, because not everybody works weekdays or weekends or anything. So we're trying to blend all sorts of approach so that nobody feels left out. Of course, we can't cover all the time zone in the world, but the way we will approach that is by having faculty members residing in different time zones. So if it's someone residing, let's say, in Crans-Montana, then we will have maybe a 12 o'clock noon time is the best time. Then if we have a professor from a university, let's say in North America, then it will be their noon time. That means someone in Europe might have to get up at a different time. But as a one-off, we can do that, as long as it's not repeated throughout the whole of the courses. So we're looking at all the options to try to keep the group as much together as possible throughout the journey.
And from the employer's perspective, Perrine, how do you think they will experience that, having somebody having to do this?
I think, it's not just an investment. It's also something very positive and valuable for the company and other collaborators in the company. But because when a learner goes like that in an MBA executive, he comes back in the company with some new topics, new knowledge, and he's really valuable for all the company and not for only this learner.
Yeah. So it's not only for the person who's actually studying, but for the company that employs that person.
Yes, sorry. The company is looking for disruptors within reasons. Yes, we all like disruptors, but they have to be within reasons. Okay, not annoying disruptors. Yes. But with that new knowledge, I think that any company will feed in from that, because we want really every participant to come out of the program being able to add value. And this is not because we will have imposed a specific sort of knowledge, is because we will put things together that will help that participant to say, okay, in my mind, I feel a different person, I'm transformed, I knew this, I now know this better, and I can apply it better.
Yeah.
It's not about one module, one course itself, it's the whole journey.
And if I can say from a teaching perspective, we use case study method quite a lot for teaching. And this is taking real world cases and solving them and finding different solutions to real world problems. But these executive MBA students should be coming with their actual real world problems. We don't need to buy a case study from somewhere. They will have their case studies, which they'll be able to look at with other learners in other business contexts who may have experienced a similar problem, tried one approach, it didn't work, maybe try another approach. We're hoping for that kind of approach to the learning and the knowledge also. A very applied, how can I bring this into my workplace? So we really hope that employers will immediately see benefits from this investment.
So very applicable, very hands-on.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Good. There is a question going back to the microcredentials. Does Les Roches offer microcredentials?
You can go.
At the moment, not, but of course, it's something that we're looking at, just like all higher education institutions. There are opportunities there, and there's a hunger out in the workplace for very specific, very fine-tuned, short-form courses. And so, of course, we're looking at this area of development.
Good. I see there is a few questions that are very specific to the EMBA course in terms of eligibility for enrollment, locations, etc. If I may recommend the people who are interested in knowing all the specifics to please go through the website, and then we can put you in contact with somebody who can give you specific information to you, answer all your questions on a personal basis, which I think is always more human and a nicer approach, that personalized service. I'm trying to see if there's other questions. Let me just go back. Would all, is it a requirement to participate that the people who are going to study this, do they need to be employed while they are taking this course?
They don't need to, of course not. But I mean, it can add value because you bring the case study and your issues to, the discussion. But it's not a mandatory. No, of course not. And the modules are created in a way, they are going to be delivered in a sequential way. I can't dictate what you should be doing with anybody's life.
But it's not.
It's not a
must.
prerequisite, no.
No further questions at this point. Anything else you'd like to share, to add?
I mean, if I go back to, I've been talking a lot, but if I go back through my history and my life as a hotel GM, and I've finished 14, 15 years ago in the Middle East, but it's very much, I now know what I was missing then. After leaving the industry and joining Les Roches, I had the opportunity to do an MBA, and I realized that actually I had shortcomings in the knowledge, and yet because we are working every day in an environment we think we know, and we do know a lot, but not enough. And so really I think I would have been a better general manager had I done the MBA before going to a larger hotel for a pre-opening and opening. But life is like this. Now I have different opportunities, and this is really what I want to share. And the message of this executive MBA is very much on that approach, where I would like it to become something that is really a journey inspired by, it's not just me, but people who have lived the industry long enough, who can bring their experience to contribute to creating a program.
Maybe as a conclusion for the employer, I could say that employers are always looking for the best expert at the right moment. But an MBA like that, working with other individuals, communicating with them in group discussion, team project, international seminar, able them to develop skills communication, and it's easy to transfer in work environment. So not only about hard skill and to identify the best expert, but also to have some more soft skills that is a gain for the employers. Wow.
So with that closing note of encouraging all of you to continue learning, to being the best at your field, to really stand out, we're going to close this live session. I thank you all for sharing your knowledge, your ideas, your opinions, and I thank you all who are connected online for attending this live session. We've been very grateful for all the questions and your interest, and we look forward to talk to you soon. So please connect with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.